Hello, I'm Trent Steele, and welcome back to another episode of Data Science in the News, the show that tries to capture all the unique stories taking place in the world of artificial intelligence, big data, virtual reality, and machine learning, so you don't have to. So with that, let's get started. Our first story deals with machine learning and the Bible. To say that the Bible has been influential in the history of mankind would be an understatement. Not only is it the primary text for Judaism and Christianity, of which Christianity is the largest religion in the world, but its words have influenced governments, explorers, scientists, playwrights, and scholars for thousands of years. So it should be no surprise that the Bible is now being used to influence machine learning. Researchers at Dartmouth College are using the multiple translations of the Bible to teach algorithms how to convert text to different styles. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, if you take the King James Version of the Bible, which was written in 1611, and compare it to a contemporary translation, you will notice that even though the word definitions are essentially the same, the text style is much different. That's because as the audience changed, so did the language in the text. What the researchers are hoping to do is use that same technique but apply it to other works. So for example, the book Moby Dick could be retranslated into a more contemporary style geared towards a modern audience. But why use the Bible? Well, the Bible has been organized consistently for centuries in the forms of chapters and verses, despite the various writing styles, thus making it the perfect parallel text to use. Thus, researchers are able to feed this text through two algorithms, a statistical machine translation system, appropriately called MOSES, and a neural network framework called Seq2Seq. Researchers are hoping to duplicate this kind of stylized text while retaining the same meaning as of the words, similar to what the Bible's been doing for centuries. So once again, the Bible's being used to pioneer the future. Our next story deals with AI and humanitarian aid. Across the globe, there are over 60 million displaced people who've been forced to flee their homes due to war, famine, or even natural disasters. This presents an enormous humanitarian crisis, as well as logistical challenges to the men and women providing humanitarian aid. To meet this challenge, a group of international organizations are working on ways to incorporate AI to make the task of providing supplies and support to affected populations much easier. Using AI chatbots and social media, aid workers are beginning to create organized information centers that can communicate with displaced persons via chat messages and then dispatch the right material to each affected region according to its needs. Chatbots are specifically being used to reach and communicate with target populations by sending out alerts of incoming supplies or to warn them of fighting taking place near their homes. This method of outreach and support is being tested even now in Afghanistan, as AI platforms and machine learning tools are being used to identify service gaps in particular regions and track local community needs at scale. The long-term goal of these initiatives is to increase the impact of humanitarian work by improving efficiency and ensuring that the right supplies get to the right areas. Our next story deals with AI and phobias. In our last video, we discussed how researchers in California were using VR to help residents empathize with homeless by having them live out many of the day-to-day challenges they face in a VR environment. Well, another group of researchers are using the same premise to help folks overcome their phobias. In a recent study carried out by UT, psychology researchers had a group of volunteers suffering from arachnophobia, or fear of spiders, enter a VR world where they were forced to confront their dreaded eight-legged nemesis, size, whatever. In this simulation, a Chilean red-haired tarantula slowly walked toward them, thus forcing them to remain stationary as the spider approached. The goal of the study was to show how VR could be used to slowly desensitize folks suffering from severe phobias by gradually introducing them to their fear in virtual reality. Though more research will need to be done, psychologists are hopeful that this technology might someday enable many folks to overcome their real-life fears in a simulated environment. Our next story deals with machine learning and art. How much would you pay for a piece of art created by an artificial intelligence? Well, if you said $400,000, you're mostly correct. In a recent auction at Christie's, a canvas named Portrait of Edmund Bellamy sold for $432,000, becoming the most expensive piece of machine learning generated art sold to date. The painting was a result of a machine learning algorithm designed by 3 French students. This algorithm was trained to paint using a GAN, or Generative Adversarial Network, which was exposed to thousands of paintings done between the 14th and 20th centuries, the result of which was an original piece of art created by the algorithm, thus fulfilling the creator's goal of showing that it's possible for machine learning to show creativity. Unfortunately, the artwork I submitted to Christie's was rejected.
And now it's time for Deep Questions.
Since art is often a reflection and expression of life experience and thought, is AI truly capable of producing art? Tell us your thoughts in the comment section. Also, let me know how much you would have bidded for my artwork. Well, that's our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and remember to check out the other great videos and resources on the Super Data Science homepage. Oh, and if you want to leave us any compliments in the comment section, we'll take those too. See you next time.